Hello, everyone. Welcome to Take the Black Live. I am Dan Selke, the editor at winteriscoming.net. I am here with Cheryl Wassenaar, an editor at culturist.com.
Yes.
.com. And we are here to talk about all things Game of Thrones and A Song of Ice and Fire on Take the Black Live. And of course, to give away some Game of Thrones Funko Pop figures. Hello, holler, etc. and so forth. We are going to give away some Funko Pop figures for you, Game of Thrones figures. That's going to be a little later in the show.
That's true.
But we do have a little preview for you. We got fun.com, so letting you choose between one of 28 Funko Pop figures, all based on your favorite Game of Thrones figures. All you can do is answer a trivia question later in the show. There are some samples right over there. Which one would you choose, Cheryl?
They have Daenerys on Dragonstone where she's sitting on the throne. And
I actually have that one. That's a good one.
Yeah, I feel like it would make a great centerpiece, but honestly, like Cersei Lannister is also a great option.
I want the Cersei, personally.
Yeah.
But there's lots more where that came from. We'll get to that a little later in the show.
Okay.
First of all, hi, everybody, for coming. Hi, Jenny, Regina, Jasmine, Jackson, Marie, everybody here, Kathy, Brian. Good to see you all. And let's start with some Game of Thrones news tidbits, Cheryl.
Let's do it.
As always, things are pouring in. Even though filming is over, you can't stop the feeling. I think is that Justin Timberlake? I think
Yes.
it is. Okay.
Yes, it is.
First bit of news we have to discuss real quick before we get into the meat of the topic.
Okay.
All right. Mark Gatiss. Are you familiar with Mark Gatiss?
I am familiar with his work.
He is. This is a pretty big, important, not very, very big in the nerdosphere, I guess, of TV.
That's accurate.
You know, Doctor Who, Sherlock, and he plays the Iron Banker Tycho Nestoris on Game of Thrones. He was the guy who, last year gave Cersei a big old loan. She hired the Golden Company. So important to the plot of the show. Mm-hmm. According to the actor, Mark Gatiss, minor spoiler coming up, he is not returning for the final season of Game of Thrones. Does that mean anything, or is that just a little factoid?
I feel like it means something in the sense that it'll be a shame not to see him try and get Cersei to repay her loan.
Sure.
I think that would be an interesting thing because, you know, at this point, Cersei's kind of fighting several wars on several fronts in the sense that, you know, she has this money coming in, but that's going to come due eventually. And the crown owes the Iron Bank a lot of money anyway.
It does.
And I had this wild idea that Iron Bankers show up at the end to whoever's won and is like, you guys still owe us money, even though you guys didn't take out the loan. The crown took out the loan, and you have the crown.
That would be a fun epilogue kind of thing.
Guess you gotta pay.
I mean, I can't see Cersei paying back. I'm not really expecting her to survive the whole thing. But you're right, it will be fun. I can't see the Iron Bank playing a part in what I expect will be 5 pretty bombastic, let's fight for the survival of humanity type episodes. You know, they've done their purpose. She has an army now. She'll use it. But you're right. It would be fun to see at the very end, maybe, when things return to normal a bit, you know, it's an epilogue. You'd be like, hey, now that the apocalypse is averted, let's talk about money again.
Right? It would be great.
And just because he's not there doesn't mean there can't be an Iron Bank representative there.
Exactly.
After all, it is a temple made of stones. You remove one stone, the temple retains its shape, as Tywin Lannister would say.
Indeed.
All right, so that's fun. And hey, Julie, hey, Zach, everybody's coming in. Good to see you all. AL asks, didn't they pay the loan already with Highgarden money? They did, but then she took out a brand new loan to hire the Golden Company. So they paid back all the money they owed. They'd accrued over like the past 20 years of royal mismanagement, and then she got a new one, and she swiftly used all that. So she got some more debt. Good old Cersei, the Lannisters, spendthrifts.
Hey.
All right. Next, really quick, did you read any at all of the script for The Dragon and the Wolf, the Game of Thrones Season 7 finale?
I did skim over it. I saw the part where it basically implied that Tormund Giantsbane, bearded greatness that he is, also survives along with Beric Dondarrion, who I'm way less interested in, except for the part where he comes back to life. I mean, Tormund's great.
And everyone else, I think, are the fans. It's like, Tormund's a fan favorite character. Beric's like, I guess he's fine character.
He's okay. I mean, he has a cool flaming sword, but
not bad.
Not Tormund. He is not Tormund.
Yeah, so like the Emmys, because this episode was nominated for an Emmy for Best Writing in a Series, they put the script up on the website. And I always enjoy looking at scripts. Just, you know, the way that like what directions are given there that ends up on the screen, what is invented by the director. It's interesting to look at. And I'm going to ask you, I'm not entirely sure that it confirms Tormund lives. All it says is, like, they run away. Like, that could mean anything. It doesn't mean that they don't go down.
Don't
it
kill
doesn't
my
specify Tormund's body. You're right.
Don't kill my hopes, Dan.
I think they'll be fine.
I
actually wanted to ask you.
Yes.
So there was a minor. I actually got into a bit of an argument with some commenters on Wick. Go there. It's happening. About some of like the kind of colloquial asides that they put in there. So, for example, when they're talking about the scene where Jon and Jorah are giving suggestions to Daenerys about how to get to the north, and she goes with Jon's, like Jorah's frustrated, right? Because this is his dream girl. And so the kind of the script note is, who is this punk-ass little shitburger who's stealing my Khaleesi? That kind of thing. And the argument basically is that unbecoming of a scriptwriter, or is that just a fun way to communicate something to the actor? You apparently, okay, or it's just funny.
I mean, it is just funny.
It's just funny.
I can kind of understand why it would be in there.
Josh is taking on vacation today, by the way, to the commenters, but
yeah,
we're going to be here.
We didn't Game of Thrones him, guys. He's fine.
No.
I would say that A, it's hilarious.
Yeah, it is.
And B, it's a great way to kind of channel a modern sensibility of how to capture the emotion that the scriptwriter is looking for. Like,
yeah, I totally agree with you.
Exactly. You know, if you're calling someone, a punk ass little shitburger, you know exactly what kind of emotion you're going for there.
Yes. And then the actor reads it, and then they put it on their face, and that's what you get.
Exactly. Or TV magic. And so I think, sure, is it a little kind of gross that they're, taking my Khaleesi as if she is a thing to be taken. I mean, that's a little gross. But again,
that's inside Jorah's head.
Right.
Like
inside Jorah's head. And Jorah is kind of gross. So that's fine and allowable. But yeah, I don't think it's bad or anything. I think it's a good way to kind of convey to Ian Glenn, like, hey, here's the kind of emotion we're looking for here. I mean, you've probably got it down on lock because you've been playing this character since 2011, but just in case, here you go. Yeah. And also, Jon Snow is a punk ass.
It's just a fun 3 words put together.
It's just great. Like, I'm going to add that to my list of insults now.
I think we all should.
Yes.
I mean, I agree with you completely. And just, I know that I'm arguing against someone who's not there right now, and I hope we continue our wonderful discussions in the comments, because there is a great place, the Wick comment section. But yeah, there was an argument that, like, it seemed like it was, I don't know, just not done in a script. And I just didn't agree with that. I think you communicate however you can to the actor what to do. And even though the words punk-ass little shitburger are modern, frustration is eternal.
It's true.
And we can get that across is a good thing. I'm just gonna declare myself the victor.
I haven't read the argument,
even
so
though
I can't,
no one
I can't
is there to say the other side.
It's okay. You win in our hearts, Dan. You
all
win
right.
in our hearts.
Anyway, okay. I want to talk about something that we're all going to grapple with in the near future. By the way, the Funko Pops are coming. Don't you worry. We're going to give that away in a minute. But first, I want to talk about something I've been thinking about lately. What to do after Game of Thrones is over. What am I going to do with all this enthusiasm and interest in this fantasy series? Where's it going to go?
I don't know, Dan. Where is it going to go?
I'll tell you where it's going to go.
Okay.
It could go into one of several splashy, glossy, SFX-heavy, epic fantasy/sci-fi shows that other networks are readying to fill the pop culture hole that will surely be left when Game of Thrones ends. There's going to be a bit of a power vacuum in the fantasy TV space, and there are a lot of folk who want to spend a lot of money to rush in there and fill it and get eyeballs and merchandising rights and all that kind of stuff. And I thought you and I would go through some of the big contenders, like some of the big shows on the horizon that are clearly kind of inspired by Game of Thrones, even if they say they're not, in terms of their scale and their ambition and just their dedication to going big in an effort to get people to watch them. And answer 2 questions. And everybody out there, I want you to answer this too with us. We're going to answer, for these upcoming Game of Thrones-ish shows, will you watch them? And B, on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are they to actually fill the hole Game of Thrones will leave in the pop culture sphere and your hearts? 10 being very likely, 1 being they won't. Okay.
Sounds good.
There's no name for this game, but we're just going to play. Do you have anything come to your head? Oh, no, I guess there is some. Game of Thrones follow-up Face Off.
There we go.
I even wrote that beforehand. I don't know why I forgot it.
I was just gonna say a game of successors, but
That also works.
You know, but I don't have the alliteration.
I don't have to
Anyway,
do things. Okay.
bring in the contenders, Dan.
Okay. First show. This is an obvious one, I think. Amazon is spending $500 million to make 2 seasons, just the first 2, of a Lord of the Rings prequel spin-off, rumored to be about the life of a young Aragorn, a.k.a. Strider, a.k.a. what's that actor's name again?
Viggo Mortensen.
Viggo Mortensen. Although he won't be in it. So, first question. Would you watch young Aragorn, $500 million Lord of the Rings show on Amazon?
Yeah, I guess. Like, it's one of those shows where it's like, I feel like I should watch this because I enjoyed the Lord of the Rings movies a lot as a young person when they came out. I enjoy the world of Lord of the Rings, even if I don't always enjoy Tolkien's writing about it. Sure. And I enjoy Aragorn as a character. So yes, I'll probably watch it. What I would like to know is why can't Amazon use that $500 million to, like, I don't know, pay my student loans? Like, pay its workers more or something? Like, that's $500 million.
Just for the
Dan,
first 2 seasons.
For the first 2 seasons. How much do you think they're going to spend on seasons 3 and 4 if they make seasons 3 and 4, huh?
$8.
Like, there's a lot. $500 million. It keeps blowing my mind. So,
But you would watch it.
yes.
I
Would you
agree.
walk it? Would
Yes, I would watch this show just because I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan, and I want to see, you know, what the next step in the TV bombacity ladder is like, because they're going to be going for it. How likely do you think it is to actually fill the space Game of Thrones will leave on a scale of 1 to 10?
I am going to give it a 6.
That sounds... I think it sounds about right.
Yeah.
I was going to go with 7. I think it's a little more likely to fill that hole just because it is kind of the same-ish subject material.
Known property.
Yeah, known property. Sort of a similar setting. And again, we'll give that shock and awe people like. Whether that's a good idea out of the gate is another discussion. But I do think it'll be talked about and will at least fill some kind of need when it comes around.
Oh, for sure. And Amazon
Lisa
Prime.
gives it a 4, and Karen is on a 0. Lisa gives it a 3. Okay. Oh, and Jasmine's a 7. All right. You and me, Jasmine, we're together.
All right.
On this topic. Okay. Next show at a 4.
Next contender.
Let's go a little more obscure because there are a lot of famous property out there. Everybody wants to adapt them. Netflix is adapting the Witcher series of books. You ever heard of this?
I have.
Cool. You ever play the game?
I know, but I
didn't either.
I have not played the Witcher games. I've heard a lot about them.
Me too. They are known, right?
They're known.
Just a known
They're
quantity.
popular, popular-ish, I guess. Popular.
If you're a gamer, you've
you know
definitely
about the
heard
Witcher.
of it.
Yeah.
So you know, it's another medievalist series. I actually started to read the books a little bit just because I want to prepare for this. Geralt of Rivia is like a swashbuckling, demon hunting, badass kind of guy who wanders around this
right up my
fantasy
alley.
kingdom. You might. You should check him out. Why not?
Sounds up.
We read them together. And kills demons, is a badass, takes jobs, and they're very, very popular. I haven't played the game, but they're making a show of it. Henry Cavill might be in it. He wants in.
I want to see that. Somebody posted fan art of Henry Cavill as Geralt, and
That was quick.
I saw it, and I was like, "This is the kind of content I need to see in my life."
All right. So would you watch it?
If Henry Cavill is in it, absolutely. If he's not, yeah, probably still.
Especially if it's on Netflix.
Especially if
There's
it's on
something to be said for
Netflix.
ease of access.
I'm telling you.
I mean, it's right there. Yeah, I'd probably give it a watch. If it's just right there, it's Henry Cavill. I already have Netflix, like a lot of people do. It'd be simple. I would watch it. I watched the first episode. Why not? Nothing to lose.
Except an hour of your time, but that's not too bad.
What do you think the odds are it could fill the space Game of Thrones up behind? Scale of 1 to 10.
I'm going to say a 4.5. 5.
I did not say we could do percentage, but I'll allow it. Okay.
You didn't specify, so I went
didn't.
for it.
You're right.
I went for it.
Took advantage of the ambiguity.
Because, as you said, there's a lot of ease of access in it, but
Yeah.
there's also the problem that Netflix puts out so much content that it's sometimes hard to kind of weed through. I mean, every once in a while you get something that kind of bubbles up to the surface of pop culture, like Stranger Things.
Yeah.
But I don't know necessarily if this is going to have the same Stranger Things explosion, because it's trading on something different.
Right. I also wonder if it's like a little too narrow, just one person this is about. I'd give it about a 4, too.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it has that much penetration.
No.
But this next one, 3 out of 4. We're getting to the Funko Pops, don't worry. And everybody, Lisa says, never heard of it, but your enthusiasm makes me curious. Good for all of us. Jasmine's kind of stuff I need in my life. Can't agree with that. And Beverly, Henry Cavill, worth watching, definitely. Ooh, Joseph, make a Diablo live action. Be kind of cool.
Would also watch Diablo live
All right,
action.
the next one, out
All
of
right,
4.
the next one.
Disney has its own streaming service coming up, of course, because we got to pay more for that. Is going to make a live action, I believe the first ever, a live action Star Wars television show. Jon Favreau of Iron Man fame is directing. Rumor is $100 million for the first season, about what season 6 Game of Thrones cost, which was, pretty good looking season. Set 3 years after the end of Return of the Jedi.
As reports have it, yes.
As reports have it, yes. On a planet I've never heard of called...
Mandalore?
Mandalore, there you go. I don't know what that means, but the point is, like a sprawling series about this planet coming back after the fall of the Empire.
You know who Boba Fett is, right?
Yes, I do.
He wears Mandalorian armor.
Look at that. That's a lead-in right there. There could be cameos.
Well, no, Boba Fett's dead. Well, maybe dead. It's complicated.
Yeah,
sometimes he's dead, sometimes he's not.
I know enough to know there is contention over that point.
Yes. You know enough to be dangerous, Dan. So
this is a danger to nobody.
So on the inevitable question, would I watch it? Yes. I like Star Wars. I like Star Wars a lot. I have a lot of problems with how Star Wars is run lately, but I'm intrigued by the concept, nevertheless, and I will probably watch it, probably on a free trial, because I don't know if I want to pay for Disney's streaming service.
Right, that's something that's bugging me a bit, just on the streaming service. I'm not sure if I would. I'm not a giant Star Wars fan. Like, I'm just, it's so saturated right now, and unless they do something really interesting to really sell me it's going to be different and worth watching, I'm not sure. I think I'd wait for the reviews and then try it out.
$100 million isn't enough to entice you.
Hey, when Amazon spent $500 million on 2 seasons, you have to raise the bar. Not
Step
anymore.
It
Would have been. It would have been enough like 3 years ago. Not anymore.
Step it up, Disney. So yes, am I going to watch it? Is it going to fill the Game of Thrones cultural vacuum? Gonna go a little controversial on this, and I'm going to say it has a 0.
No way.
Because Game of Thrones and Star Wars have different cultural niches.
That's
Star Wars already has a big enough share of the cultural niche that it doesn't need to fill Game of Thrones' vacuum too.
I'm going to disagree with you and say that, yes, it has a huge cultural mind share, but not on TV, really. It doesn't have... I mean, I know there are TV shows about it, but it hasn't set the world on fire like Game of Thrones has with its TV shows, with Clone Wars or whatever. There are worlds left to conquer. I know it seems impossible, but there are.
Right.
Even for something as big as Star Wars.
But the thing is, Disney doesn't... If Disney needed Star Wars to conquer TV in the way that you're thinking, they wouldn't have put it on their streaming service. Like... At this point, putting the Star Wars live action on the streaming service is a way to basically say, please come pay money for our streaming service. Here is something you can get nowhere else.
Right.
And if they needed it to be a TV thing instead, they could have absolutely found a space for it on like ABC or something.
Then again, like HBO's
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. right there.
Then again, like HBO's a premium network and Game of Thrones taken over.
Right.
Although, I mean, granted, it's a much older premium network than Disney's yet-to-be-born streaming service. But I actually was going to go a little higher and go with like 7 or even 6. And say, because I mean, Amazon, well, I guess Amazon's a little weird in between thing with how they work. I think if anything has a chance of occupying that space, it might be something huge like Star Wars. Although then again, just my contrarianism with not wanting to watch something that's so oversaturated. I'm not sure people will share that or not.
What are the comments say?
Beverly's with you. 0.
Thanks,
Jasmine,
Beverly.
Star Wars is great. Definitely give it a try. Carolina, I would watch it. Lisa, it's Star Wars. I definitely give it a watch. And Linda, is John and Denny going to be in the prequel? No.
Sadly, no.
Nice, easy answer. And Julie hates Star Wars with a passion. Poke me in the eye with a stick. Ooh, I enjoy the negativity.
Julie, please never ask me what's in my apartment.
It's
a
pretty
lot of Star
evenly
Wars
split
stuff.
between yes and no for Star Wars.
Okay.
All right, interesting. We'll see what happens when it happens. And finally, the last contender on this list.
All right.
This is the most obscure, probably, but that could be a good thing. I mean, Game of Thrones was kind of obscure when it came out, too. Showtime is making a show based on the Kingkiller Chronicles, a fantasy series of books by a bearded, slow-writing fantasy maven called Patrick Rothfuss, George R. R. Martin shades. He has 2 books out. They are very well received in the fantasy community. Again, medieval-ish era, although they're very different. They center around a dude named Kvoth, who's spelled Kvothe. Pretentious? I don't know. And it's kind of they're written very lyrically, and they're very dense with the world building.
Of course.
Naturally. They move a little slow. And Lin-Manuel Miranda of Hamilton is going to executive produce and write the music because a lot of it involves like playing instruments and stuff. Does this intrigue you? Have you read any of the Kingkiller books?
I have not. I feel like my face conveys it all, but for those of us who are listening to the podcast, I'm basically kind of sitting with one of my hands.
The podcast is available on iTunes. And
it
you
is.
Can play.
Please subscribe, leave us reviews, all that good
Yes.
stuff. But for those
8 stars.
those of you who are listening to the podcast, I'm kind of sitting with my head in my hand, like my temple is resting on my palm right now because it just sounds like a lot, and I don't know if it will translate well anyway, even with the help of Lin-Manuel Miranda, who wrote a musical about Treasury Secretary Alexander Hamilton of all people,
And made it
like
huge. The Game of Thrones of musicals.
Pretty much. So, who am I to say nay?
I mean,
but it just sounds like it's not something that might translate well to TV as a medium.
Would you watch?
Probably will, even though I don't have Showtime.
So you are 4 for 4. Okay.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I'm always looking for new TV shows to be obsessed with. So, what about you, Dan?
I would watch 2. I have read the books. I have a lot of problems with them, actually. But that's another discussion.
Take the Black Book Club, man.
I'd love it. I would love it. We can do that for like bonus episodes. I think that the fact that it's not well known is different, and clearly it's something unique. Might be a point for it.
Okay.
Like I get bored with the idea of another Star Wars TV show or even another Lord of the Rings TV show. Like it's a known quantity. I want something a little unknown, and I think that the original ideas can sometimes grab people in ways that things you expect can't. Like, I'm not sure people were looking. I don't think people knew they wanted Game of Thrones before they had it in that kind of thing.
I think that's fair.
In the same way that back when Star Wars were being, people didn't know they needed that kind of blockbuster in life before they got it. I'm not saying it's going to be that, but I am interested in it at least, enough to watch. Now, whether I think it'll fill the cultural void, no. I'll say a 2 on that one.
I'm gonna hit you with a 2 as well.
But you know what, Cheryl? Sometimes 2s are wild.
And there went the head to the palm again.
Great joke, Dan.
What a show, guys. What a show. What do the comments say about the Kingkiller Chronicles, Dan?
Jasmine feels it might be a generic Game of Thrones. Might have potential with its own plot storylines. She wants to see something about it. Eric just says, "Dear God, that sounds awful." So he's with you. Beverly, I'd give it a go. And Jenny thinks she knows that name. Yeah, it's like under the radar a little bit.
Yeah.
And La Joanna with by far the most trenchant comment, "You need to iron your banners, don't like the creases." Completely with you. We should really get on that or steam them or something.
Probably. We're sorry, guys.
I'll put them in a room with a lot of steam. All right. And those are the 4 shows that might possibly have a chance at dethrone or just taking the space Game of Thrones leaves. Well, they're all out. They're all like in like 2 years into the future. Mm-hmm. Because they're all so opulent. They all have to like be planned.
Conveniently enough, after Game of Thrones goes off the air. Conspiracy theory. 2 years in the future is 2020. Game of Thrones ends in 2019.
Okay. Oh, yes, exactly. Perfect. That's what I'm talking about. All right,
Took
now,
you a minute, Dan. Took you a minute.
we're about to get to our Game of Thrones Funko Pop giveaway. But before we do, one other quick little thing. Daniel Smith, who's a watcher of Take the Black Live, kindly sent in a bunch of pictures of his quite epic and extensive Game of Thrones swag collection. And Daniel, thank you. It was very, very cool. We looked at all the pictures, put up a little reel together so you can all see what Daniel's got. He has lots of stuff.
Hi, I'm jealous.
Breasts. He's got posters. He's got a model Hound's Head helmet. It goes on and on. Game of Thrones jewelry. This is all one person's collection. Daniel, I'm not sure, like, how long did it take you to amass all this stuff? If you're watching, I'd be curious, like, how long it took you to get all the stuff. He had, like, these behind a whole glass thing that's just modeled off for the figurines. It's a whole room full of this stuff.
What?
And pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. It's like a signed still.
Nice.
Got Game of Thrones shot glasses in the original thing. I think those are shot glasses, right?
Yes.
And now that's cool. I would totally have the banners on my wall. And the swords too. All the swords. He has all the swords. More knives. And it goes on like that. It's like a fourth of them.
What?
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I have a very prodigious Star Wars collection of Star Wars memorabilia in my apartment, which is why I said, Julie, please don't ever ask me what's in my apartment. But this kind of wins. Like, this is bonkers. I salute you, sir.
A round of applause for Daniel Smith, Game of Thrones super fan. It's a signed 1/1 picture. I love it. Or signed by somebody, I imagine.
It's signed by 1/1.
Cool. So congrats, Daniel. Thanks for that. If any of you have cool stuff you want to show us, feel free to email me at dan.selke@winteriscoming.net. An address you should remember for our final segment, giving away Game of Thrones Funko Pop figures. Yay! All right. People, if you've been here before, you know how this works. We're going to give away your choice of 28 Funko Pop figures. We have the 4 that we already showed you, but there are 24 more you can select from. And the way it's going to work is this. I am going to ask a Game of Thrones trivia question here. And then you will email your answers to me at dan.selke@winteriscoming.net. Richard has kindly pinned it to the comments. Bless you, Richard. You're the best. And the first person to get in their correct answer wins. I will get back to you, ask you for, a name and address, and what you want to choose. If you get back to me, you get it sent out. Good for you. However, if you don't respond in 24 hours, I have to go to the person who sent their answer next quickest.
Can we ship internationally? Is this open to everyone?
No. Thank you. I always forget that.
You're welcome.
This is Fun.com is partnering with us for this very, very generously, but we can't ship outside the United States of America. I'm sorry about that to international viewers, but for the rest of you, let's get to the trivia question and see who can win their very own Game of Thrones Funko Pop figure.
Love the head movement, Stan.
Thank you. All right, the trivia question is this. There are 19 castles along the wall. For the bulk of the series, only 3 are manned. Castle Black is manned, we all know that. East Watch by the Sea is also manned. Name the 3rd castle on the wall that is actually manned. There are people at it. I will ask again. There are 19 castles along the wall. Only 3 of them actually have people stationed there. Knights Watchmen stationed there who, look for wildlings or cut down forests or whatever. We got Castle Black, where Jon Snow and Sam live. We got East Watch by the Sea, which Viserion blew the hell out of in the season 7 finale. There's one other castle that actually has people stationed there. What is the name of that 3rd manned castle on the wall? Email your answers to dan.selke@winteriscoming.net. The first person to get on the right answer wins their own Game of Thrones Funko Pop figure.
Fancy. I had to look this one up. I admit.
This is a little harder than I usually give. I will admit it. I mean, it's not impossible.
No.
But it is.
I couldn't remember it off the top of my head, and I felt a little bad. And then I looked it up, and I said, oh, that's, yeah.
So, And Julie says if we change the international thing, that would please us very much, Dan. And sometimes we can. It depends on what kind of thing we're giving away and who we're working with. With Fun.com, they've been really generous. We have a whole bunch of stuff to give away, but it is only in the U.S., which is great. Thank you, Fun.com. You are the best. And we hope to give some international stuff in the future. But for now, it's U.S., and I hope you guys get your answers. And that is our show.
That is our show.
We'll be back next week. Josh Hill will be back for more A Song of Dan and Josh. He's off this week on vacation in Minnesota, I think.
I don't know.
We'll be back next week with more Game of Thrones news, more Song of Ice and Fire news, a new episode of A Song of Dan and Josh, and in the future, more giveaways.
Woohoo!
So we'll see you guys next Wednesday. And I see some folk already have it. Hooray.
Wow. Faster than me, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.